Hey, I'm good, Mark. How are you?
Oh, wait a second. You know what I remembered? You had this is Eli's KMOX debut, which is pretty big. He's been writing about Missouri politics. You're one of the things that impresses me about you is that you're a pretty young guy. How old are you?
I am 20 in July.
20 years old, but I got to tell you something. I've been following you on Twitter. We met in person a couple of weeks ago, and you've really been doing a great job of covering Missouri politics. And you specifically asked for this as your lead-in song, the Carly Jepsen song, "Call Me Maybe," right?
That's right.
Well, you were joking about that. You didn't think I would do it, but now we got that.
That song haunts me. It shows up everywhere I go, so it's fitting.
There we go. All right. Well, we got it in there. All right. Let's talk. Before we get to some of the things that are going on with the governor's race right now, a couple of big stories from yesterday, and of course, we're on the cusp of this Supreme Court ruling. And I'm talking about this throughout the afternoon today, but this deal with Senator McCaskill deciding to not go to the Democratic National Convention. Now, she says it's much ado about nothing. Republicans see it another way, don't they?
They absolutely do. They think she's running from Obama, trying to hide from her support of him in the past. Claire McCaskill has been clear that she does support President Obama, but this is going to be a political issue this fall, and they're going to say that Claire McCaskill is trying to hide from her support of him. Now, what Claire McCaskill will tell you, and this is what she told reporters yesterday, is that she wants him to come with all the organization and the money that a presidential campaign brings to Missouri. She says that she's almost upset that the presidential campaign isn't here. So, McCaskill is going to be running really hard this fall. What she says is that she needs to be in Missouri at this time. A lot of people are going to agree with her on that she does need to be campaigning hard in this state because it looks like it's going to be a competitive race for her this fall.
Yeah, one of the things that she has been saying is, and maybe there's something to this. Look, if she doesn't, stay here and then she goes to the convention, people are going to be ripping on her for that. However, it's pretty clear that she's trying to distance herself from the president, isn't it?
Well, what Claire McCaskill will tell you is that she has taken votes against President Obama. She says this thing that that she's been a thorn in President Obama's side. Now, she has supported President Obama on really big policy goals, like this health care deal that's going to be a huge deal this week. That's the challenge for Republicans is that while McCaskill has taken independent votes, that's true when she says that. She's also been with President Obama on some really important policy goals, and that's going to be the debate this fall over, has she been independent enough for Missouri voters?
Yeah, I think that is going to be the focus. Do we have, before I move to the governor's race, do we have, what are you hearing as far, and I have people telling me things, but I want to know what you're hearing, as far as an indication of who her opponent might be? We're only about 5 weeks away now from the primary. Of course, Todd Akin, Sarah Steelman, John Bruner involved in a primary battle. It seems a little quiet right now, right before the holiday, but I can't imagine that after the 4th of July, if you're going to have TV ads, if you're going to have radio ads, you better get them on because voters are going to make a decision.
Right. It's going to be game on after the 4th of July. Now, John Bruner's already on TV, and he's been criticizing both of his rivals. And recently, and that seems to be helping him, he's had upward momentum in all of the polls. Now, he has his own internal polls that show him leading. But if you look at the public polls, John Bruner is the only candidate rising in these polls right now. So it's going to be a really competitive race. Sarah Steelman needs to get on air soon, and I think she's working on that. I think that there's a super PAC helping Sarah Steelman out right now. And it sounds like they're working on an ad criticizing some of John Bruner's business record. You saw Newt Gingrich do this in the presidential primary. He went after some of Mitt Romney's business record. And it almost looks like Sarah Steelman is trying to do the same thing. She, in a lot of statements, she'll go after Bruner for taking on debt during his work in Bijan there in St. Louis.
Eli Yokley is here. He's the editor-in-chief of PoliticMo's, also a contributor to Missouri News Horizon. In other words, on the Senate race, Eli, it's going to get a lot nastier in the next few weeks.
It's going to be a hot, hot summer in the Senate race, Mark.
I think it is. All right, what about the governor's race? Now, let me see if I get this straight. Governor Jay Nixon came out yesterday and said that he thinks the individual mandate, when referring to the health care reform bill that's up for review by the Supreme Court and the decision will be handed out tomorrow, that he's all of a sudden against that, and he said that he's made that clear in the past?
Governor Nixon has apparently told this to the Kansas City Star editorial board in the past. They did an interview with him a few months ago, and he apparently told them about this, but there was another issue that came up in that interview, and that the editorial board got distracted on that, is what the Nixon campaign is saying. Now, last week he did say this again, and this is after the Supreme Court arguments. He said this in Boise State in Warrensburg. But this healthcare issue, and this is part of the Republican campaign this fall, is to tie just about everybody on the ballot to Barack Obama and healthcare, especially in a state like Missouri that voted against the individual mandate provision. Ed Martin, who's running for Attorney General, he's leading the victory effort for the party. He's basically calling everybody who's not Ed Martin or a Republican Obama's lawyer or Obama's governor, or doing Obama, trying to implement health care.
Yes, I've noticed
Missouri.
that. I've noticed Ed doing that, yes.
And so that's going to be this Republican pushback on all of the office holders. It's going to try to go up and down the ballot. And tomorrow is going to be a huge deal whenever the Supreme Court decision comes out over how this argument goes.
Eli, is Dave Spence getting any traction across the state from your perspective and what you're hearing?
You know, he has been all over the state, and he's getting a lot of attention in local media. But it's going to be a long summer. It's going to be a long fall for Dave Spence as he tries to convince voters that they don't like Jay Nixon. Jay Nixon has had moderate positions, and he taps into a lot of places where Republicans or Democrats shouldn't be able to tap into. And that is Dave Spence's challenge this fall. And however much Dave Spence can tie Jay Nixon to Barack Obama is what's going to help him. Now Jay Nixon did really well with independent and swing voters last time around. We saw this in 2008 with John McCain. Jay Nixon pulled a lot of the same votes John McCain did. So if the Dave Spence hopes that the presidential race can help him, and you know, in a state like Missouri where we have voters that like to pick and choose the side of the ballot they vote on, I think that's a challenging race for Dave Spence.
Yeah, in other words, his only hope might be if the gap is really big between Obama and Romney. If Romney wins really big, then that might be able to somehow push him over the top. We'll have to see. Eli Yokley, editor-in-chief of PoliticMo, contributor to Missouri News Horizon. You'll hear from him every so often on the Mark Reardon Show. We'll go out with your theme song again. We're going to call this your theme song, as painful as it might be. Thanks, Eli.
Hey, good to be here.